Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I'm so excited. We have Anthony Youn, MD, and he's written this amazing book called Younger for Life, and it's got so many great pieces to it. And we are going to talk about today how you can be younger for life. So Anthony, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
So let's start with talking about diet and kind of what you're putting in your body, and a little bit about intermittent fasting and what your take on that is for being younger for life.
Yeah, so when you're looking at food truly is the foundation when you're looking at anti-aging, slowing the aging process down, and even slowing the aging of your skin. And so the way I look at it, overall anti-aging is it's kind of like you're building a house. And people come to me, I'm a board certified plastic surgeon. I still operate 2 days a week. And they'll say, hey, I've got money in hand. I want a facelift. Well, a facelift is not where you start if you want to look younger. That's like if I'm building a house starting with the chimney or the spire at the top of the house. The true foundation of anti-aging, slowing the aging process down, turning it back is food. And so a couple of things I encourage people to start with. First thing is you want to look at what is truly aging your skin. When I look at aging, I look at 5 different factors of skin aging. So that includes nutrient depletion. It includes collagen degradation, so breakdown of collagen. It includes oxidation or free radicals, chronic inflammation, and a buildup of cellular waste. So when you look at these 5 things, all of them are impacted by food. So for example, nutrient depletion, big cause of aging of our skin. Well, there was a study that looked at our fruits and vegetables here in the United States from the years 1950 to 1999 and found a statistically significant reduction in at least 6 different nutrients. And 3 of those ones really stuck out to me: iron, vitamin C, and protein. So it's true that our food is not as nutritious as it used to be. And so one of the things that you can do that can increase the nutrition of the food, yet eating the same amount of it, would be, let's say, eating organic. Organic foods, there have this studies show that they do have higher nutritional value than non-organic or conventionally grown produce.
I don't know about you guys, but I am stressed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, then I get it. With all the family get-togethers, it is just a relentless source of stress. But anyway, there is something that I've got called Stress Guardian, and it's actually made by Bioptimizers, the people who make the magnesium breakthrough, which I love, love, love. But anyway, they are literally made this new product. It has 14 adaptogenic herbs, and it just regulates your stress. I just actually took some right this second, and it's awesome. If you go to stressguardian.com/wasteaway and put in waste away for 10% off your first order, it's stressguardian.com/wasteaway. Go there now.
Now, one of the things you talk about is how to reverse the aging process with autojuvenation promoting foods. And
Yes.
you've got so many great recipes in here. I'm like really, really excited to try them. But what do you mean by autojuvenation promoting foods?
So autojuvenation is a term that basically describes that our bodies contain amazing regenerative abilities to turn back the clock naturally. But we have to give it the right tools and the right environment for it to do so. Now, once again, food being that foundation of anti-aging, and then looking at, once again, what are the other causes of aging? So what is a good autojuvenation promoting food? Well, foods that target those causes of aging. So we talked about generally going after organic foods because you're going to get better nutrition. But how about we talk about collagen and collagen degradation? That's a huge part of aging of our skin. I mean, women, when they go through menopause, studies show they lose 30% of the collagen in their skin in the first 5 years after menopause. 30%. So your skin, literally women's skin, gets thinner by that 30% or so in literally 5 years. And then they lose about 2% every year. Well, collagen is a protein. It's a large protein. And so how do you help to keep those collagen stores up? You want to eat good, healthy sources of protein. And so one of the things that I definitely encourage is making sure that you're getting enough protein every day. So what would that be? It would be a healthy source of meat like grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, pastured pork and chicken. So let's say plant-based, and you're going to want to go with, let's say, good beans, the legumes, nuts and seeds and all that as well. And so definitely what you eat can make a massive impact on the health and quality of your skin.
My mom is 77 and she'll kill me for saying it, but she literally looks like she's 50. Everyone cannot believe how old she is. And she says that part of her kind of tricks is that she doesn't get into the sun. So she's white as a ghost. And then 2, she does use like a retinol or on her face, regularly. So one of the things you talk about in your book is you talk about a simple skincare routine that will make your skin look young and healthy. So give us a few tidbits of what you tell us in the book about that.
So we did actually a testing where, the issue a lot of people have with skincare is it's confusing. There's so many products out there. Everything claims to be this and that. And what should you use? So we did something that literally we put people on a skincare routine. It literally took just 2 minutes a day. We took the average person. So your mom would not qualify for this test because her skin probably looks too good. So the average person who necessarily isn't on a regular skincare routine, we put them on this skincare routine. And then 2 months later, we actually took their photos and we surveyed people to see how much younger does their skin look. And we found that after 2 minutes a day, doing that for 2 months, they looked upwards of 5 years younger. So I call this skincare routine the 2 minutes, 5 years younger skincare routine. And it's very simple. Every morning, you cleanse your skin with a cleanser appropriate for your skin type. And so if you've got oily skin, you want to go with the more foaming type of a cleanser. If you've, however, got more drier skin or if you've got real sensitive skin, then a more milky or hydrating cleanser may be better for you. You follow that up with a vitamin C or antioxidant serum. Once again, I mentioned earlier, one of the main agents of our skin is oxidation or free radicals. And that process, which can damage the DNA of our cells and cause our cells to age prematurely, that process is halted by antioxidants. And that's why people are all about vitamin C. So you apply a vitamin C serum to your skin in the morning, and then you follow that up ideally with a sunscreen if you're going to be out, at least SPF 30, and we can talk about sunscreen a little bit if you'd like. That's all you have to do in the morning. Cleanse, vitamin C, serum, and then a sunscreen. At night, super important. Got to cleanse your skin. If you only cleanse your skin once a day, make sure it's at night because you got to get rid of the day's worth of dirt and grime and oil and pollution and all that type of stuff and makeup. And then you ideally want to apply, like you mentioned earlier, a retinol. Retinols are derivatives of vitamin A, and if you ask plastic surgeons and dermatologists what one skincare product that you would recommend for anti-aging, most of them are going to tell you retinol. And so that's all you have to do at night. If you want to add a moisturizer on top of that, you can, but you don't have to. If you've got real dry skin, if let's say you're living in Canada and it's the middle of the winter time, then go ahead, apply that moisturizer. But maybe you're living in New Orleans and it's the middle of the summer and you've got oily skin, then you don't necessarily need to put a moisturizer onto your skin because you may have that natural moisturizer built in. And then the only other thing for this skincare routine is once a week, if you've got sensitive skin, 2 or 3 times a week, if you've got more quote unquote normal skin, it's good to exfoliate. And you can do that with a gentle scrub, or you can do some type of like an alpha hydroxy acid peel at home. But definitely exfoliating the skin, that helps to get rid of that upper layer of dead skin cells, get your skin turning over more quickly. That's going to smooth the skin and help slow that aging process down as well.
So one thing that I don't do is I don't put on sunscreen at all, and very anti-sunscreen. So I think that almost all sunscreens, and I've looked at so many, except for there's like a couple that I will be a fan of, but there's so many chemicals like oxybenzone, octinoxate, homosalate, and just so many toxic chemicals in so many, even ones that like look fancy. And so for me, I just like when I go out, if you see me out walking, I have an umbrella with me. So I just am anti-sunscreen. There's like 1 or 2 that I think are okay, but I instead choose to get some sun in my eyes, at least 10 minutes in my eyes.
Yep.
And the rest of the time I like wear a hat, and just don't do it at all.
So I guess, and I totally hear you. And you and I have a lot of similar friends who are concerned about the sunscreen. A couple of things I think for people to realize. Number one, the FDA has not approved a new sunscreen for use in the United States in a long, long time. So and the sunscreens that we have available here, they're chemical and physical. And the chemical sunscreens, they may feel nicer on your skin, unlike the mineral ones that can feel pasty and look thick and change the color of your skin. But just like you said, octinoxate and oxybenzone, 2 of the most common sunscreen ingredients, are considered potential hormone disruptors. And there are studies that show that the vast majority of the population has oxybenzone in their urine when they go to the bathroom. There are also potential risks with coral reefs. And so I hear it. I think I temper that though with being a plastic surgeon. I have patients who come to see me, and one thing, Chantel, nobody wants to get is skin cancer of your face. I've seen patients who are just beautiful people who have taken great care of themselves, and they get a skin cancer, a little thing on the nose. They go to a dermatologist, they get it taken off, and now they got a big hole in their nose. And it's frightening what can happen. And so I think just like what you're saying, everybody has to do what they feel comfortable doing. And I think what you're doing is you are doing your own sun protection because you are protecting your skin. I think where I'm concerned is when people, I have a good friend of mine who's in a holistic space like we are, and he's like, well, I just put lard on my face. And it's like, and he goes in the sun all the time. And like, you're going to pay the price at some point because you do not want to get that skin cancer. So, I think what you're doing is very wise. I think it's great to get sun in the morning, to get it in your eyes, to activate those circadian rhythms and all that. And you are practicing sun protection, unlike some of our colleagues where I fear, there's a great actor, Hugh Jackman, and he's had multiple skin cancers taken off his face. And I fear that a guy who I think is the most talented man in Hollywood at some point is going to be disfigured from skin cancer.
Did you guys know that your thyroid's main food is iodine? And guess what? Mercury and other toxins gobble up your selenium, and your thyroid glands need selenium to convert iodine to thyroxine. So if you have mercury fillings and with all the toxins and mold, your selenium just gets gobbled up. So here's the bottom line. I take something called Peak Thyroid. It's got iodine, it's got copper, and it's got selenium. Everything you need to get your thyroid back to functioning without medicine. So go to chantelrayway.com/upgraded formulas. Use the coupon code ChantelRay to get a huge discount. One of the things you also talk about is just non-surgical treatments like Botox, fillers, lasers, and red light. And it's funny because my mom is super natural. Like everything is organic. I mean, she eats as clean as she can be. And the one thing that she says, the one thing that's not organic about me is that I still get Botox. And she gets a tiny bit of filler, not much. So I want you to talk about just how bad is Botox and how bad is fillers for you? And is there anything you can do to make it a little bit less toxic for you?
So, Botox is botulinum toxin. It is a poison. It's a toxin that if you inject it in small amounts in anybody's body, they can die from it. But if you inject it in the most minuscule amounts in certain muscles that, let's say, create wrinkles or that are in spasm, then it will cause those muscles to relax temporarily for about 3 to 4 months. And so initially it was used for therapeutic purposes, like people have esophageal spasms, or people who are having eyelid spasm or eye muscle spasms, and you inject the Botox into it and it helps to relax that, which can be a big deal. And so now it's used for the dynamic wrinkles of the face, which are wrinkles caused by muscle contraction. So there's certain wrinkles of the face that only occur when you contract muscles. And those are the glabella, which are the frown lines between the eyebrows, the horizontal forehead wrinkles, and the crow's feet wrinkles. Those are the 3 most common areas. And if you inject Botox into those muscles, then you can prevent the transmission of nerve impulses for about 3 to 4 months. So how safe is it? Well, I have been doing Botox in my practice since I started 20 years ago, Chantel. We have probably injected realistically at least 20 or 30,000 people. And I have never seen or had any patient have a true systemic, meaning, underlying complication from it. We have had 2 patients who've had a temporary droopiness of the eyelid when it migrated into the eyelid muscle and it caused the muscle to droop a little bit. That's it. But like anything, if you go down that rabbit hole on Facebook groups, on social media, there are some people who claim to have systemic illness, meaning they've got autoimmune type issues and stuff after having Botox injections. I have a colleague of mine who's in the natural medicine space who called me up one day a few years ago, and she had some Botox done and started having some neurological issues, since had been worked up. And I actually talked to a lot of dermatologists, I talked to a lot of functional medicine doctors, and nobody had ever seen a reaction to Botox like hers. It turned out she had ALS. That was when it was presenting, and I think that it was most likely circumstantial. It wasn't necessarily related to the Botox, because I don't think there's any proof that would ever cause ALS. But like anything, I think, the one thing I think that alternative medicine doctors are really good at are realizing that there is bioindividuality And whereas you may do great with Botox, somebody else doesn't make them feel right, in which case, it's not necessarily going to do the same for everybody. So in general, I'd say that Botox is a very safe treatment. That's why we do it. It's the number one cosmetic treatment in the history of the world, probably. But that doesn't mean that if you are hypersensitive or your body has hypersensitivities that you may not react in a weird way. The good thing is, like I said, typically the effects wear off 3 to 4 months later.
So let's talk about a simple 3-week jump start where you say, okay, if we did these things in kind of 21 days, you are going to start to look and feel amazing. Talk about that.
Yeah, so this is something that we tested on people prior to writing the book. It's a 21-day jumpstart where they make simple changes to the diet. So essentially cleaning up the diet. So that's the first part of it. So the first week is basically cleaning up the diet, getting on a very simple but effective skincare routine, the one I mentioned to you earlier, and then a very simple array of supplements. One of the most important ones, though, is collagen. So that's all I do week 1, clean up the diet.
Let's talk about the diet, though. So what is some of the things that you're recommending that they eat lots of, and what are the things you're saying to get out of your diet and to avoid?
So pushing healthy sources of protein, pushing anti-inflammatory foods. So you're going to be looking at healthy fats like monounsaturated fatty acid-rich foods like nuts and seeds, olives, olive oil, avocados, omega-3 fatty acid-rich foods, so cold water fish, tuna, trout, salmon, mackerel, that type of thing. We also we have them stop gluten, we have them stop dairy, and we have them stop ultra-processed foods and foods with added sugars. Those are kind of the negative ones that we want to take out, and then we want to add those foods as well as colorful fruits and vegetables. So you're talking about eating the rainbow of colorful fruits and vegetables. And so really it's taking out the bad stuff, adding in the good stuff. These are things that you've talked about on the podcast before, as far as a healthy, interestingly enough, a lot of the foods that are going to be healthy, they're going to help with autoimmune issues in people naturally. Those are the same foods that are going to also be great for your skin. And so really that's what we do to start out in that first week, is kind of cleaning up the diet, especially people who are on the standard American diet. It really is a pretty big change for them. And then in weeks 2 and 3, we add intermittent fasting. And the intermittent fasting we add, very simple, just to get people started. It's an 8-hour feeding window twice a week. And then what we do, which is something different than a lot of other people have done, is when they do refeed the next day. So they stop eating at 8 p.m., they don't eat until noon the next day. And for the rest of that day, we have them on an autophagy promoting diet. And essentially what that is it's high fat, low carb, moderate amount of protein, along with polyphenol rich foods, because these are the types of foods that can promote autophagy, which is basically an intracellular recycling process that helps to get rid of intracellular waste. And that's a main benefit of fasting when you're looking at anti-aging. It's kind of cleaning up that intracellular waste, getting that autophagy process going. And what we find that after 3 weeks, their skin clears up, it looks radiant, they lose a few unwanted pounds. And what we hear, so many people, their energy is soaring after that. They're just feeling great.
So the recipes that you have in your book look absolutely amazing. Now,
oh, thank you.
Who created these recipes? And I want you to tell us which one in there is your favorite.
Yeah, so I actually worked with a chef to create these. And so she is not in the same state as me. Her name is Andrea Livingston. And so we worked together on this. She's also worked with some other prominent alternative health physicians too with their stuff. But she's one of those that she doesn't want to be real public and out there. So she's kind of behind the scenes with certain doctor and authors and stuff. So we worked, I think probably my favorite one. The hard thing is that I've always been somebody who's not been a dessert guy, but since I got married, my wife's family have always been into desserts. But for me, I love having desserts that are healthy. And so there's one that's basically a blueberry cobbler that I thought was really, really good. That was one of my favorites. And then we've got a shepherd's pie that's really good. And I think the important thing people don't realize is that you can eat healthy foods. Like the 21-day jumpstart, the good thing is when people do it, they don't feel restricted. You can get on a healthy diet that's going to make you feel great, look great, and not feel restricted in any way.
Guys, I just want to interrupt for just a second, and I want you to hear Paul Saladino talk about why liver is so important. And if you don't like liver, we have another option for you.
Your ancestors were eating liver. And the reason that this sort of wisdom has been passed down is because liver is very nutritious. It's basically nature's multivitamin. If you look at the nutrients in meat, they're great. You've got zinc, you got B6, you got B12, you got some K2. But if you look at liver, it really complements what's in muscle meat. And there are many unique nutrients found in organs, specifically liver as a powerhouse of these, that are difficult to obtain outside of liver. Like meat and organs are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. They're supposed to be eaten together. The easiest way to eat liver is just to do it raw. If you don't want to eat liver raw, you can cook it. But the reason that I like to do it raw is because there are unique nutrients in liver that are probably somewhat degraded when you cook the liver.
This really is like the most nutrient-rich supplements that you can find, and they are amazing. I have tried them. I absolutely love them. So just go to heartandsoil.co, use the coupon code Chantel Ray, and save you some money there. So one of the things you also talk about is some best practices for sleep and thinning hair and really great teeth. So give us a tasting of what some of those things are. Like, what can people do in those areas to get better sleep and have their teeth look better?
So a couple of things. I mean, there's a Dr. Michael Brias, who's the sleep doctor, who, I'm not sure if you've had him on your show, but he's great. He's the guru of sleep. What I'll do is give a couple of little tips that maybe people haven't thought of or haven't realized. Number one, when you're going to sleep, one very simple thing is if you turn the thermostat to 68 degrees, technically studies show that is the optimal temperature to sleep at. Now, everybody's different. My dad, for some reason, he sleeps well. He turns the thermostat up to like 73, 74. He's also an 82-year-old man. But really, when you look at most people, 68 degrees is the optimal temperature for sleep. I think it's super important that if you have a phone nearby or any type of Wi-Fi or EMF emitter, you do want to turn that off. And, the worst thing that young people do nowadays is sleeping on their phone, because now you've got these electromagnetic fields that are emanating from your phone that can be potentially harmful, especially to your sleep. And so definitely turning your phone to airplane mode, having it across the room from you, not having it like right next to your head, can really help with sleep. When you're looking at hair, there are a lot of simple things that you can do for your hair that definitely work. There are supplements that help. I'm a big fan of Nutrafol. Nutrafol supplements, they're basically all in one. They have 3 types, one for men, one for women who are premenopausal, and one for women who are perimenopausal and postmenopausal. And so getting on good supplements is one of the first steps to treat thinning hair. I also do recommend red light or low light laser therapy for the hair. There are helmets that you can actually wear that you can buy on Amazon. The one that I'm a fan of is called iRestore. And basically they have hundreds of lasers inside that will basically target the scalp hairs. And what the idea behind them, it's kind of like you're watering your hairs by them giving energy. They cause the hairs to go into a growth phase. And so that's definitely something that works, and studies show that it's definitely very helpful. And then the final thing is there are studies, if you don't want to do minoxidil or Rogaine, there is a study that showed that topical rosemary oil is a reasonable substitute for minoxidil or Rogaine in people who have thinning hair. And so a lot of people are doing rosemary oil if they want to stay away from the pharmaceuticals.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing. Tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Well, thank you. So my book website is autojuvenation.com. The book is Younger for Life. And if you do go to the autojuvenation.com and you get the book, then we'll give you a $30 gift certificate to my online store, younbeauty.com, where we have a ton of skincare products, our Youn Beauty line of skincare products. And you can find me all over on social media on Dr. Youn. Thank you so much for having me on, Chantel. This was fun.
Yeah, this is great. And you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.